Here is the cover of a book I'm doing right now. So you can see that this is very pivotal to our whole lives, this interest in Las Vegas. And at the time that I did this, I was doing it so that I could teach students about urbanism, and Las Vegas was a very central part of the analysis and of the illustrations. Here you see it's in the form of a book, and there's the form of a show that we had in Venice of the same material. This says learning from Las Vegas, but it just should say wow. And when I first got to Las Vegas, that's what I saw, and I couldn't believe it. And I didn't know if I hated it or loved it, but I knew it was going to be important in my life. And I began photographing. And it was very clear then in Las Vegas. The sky was as blue as you see. And I'd been in Greece and I'd seen the Acropolis, and I said, that's kind of what I saw. And then you imagine all those white temples on the Acropolis. They were all painted in multicolors at the time they were built. And I said, the Acropolis must have looked like Venice here. Okay, let's go on. And there again, more of the same thing. Is that terribly, terribly ugly, or is it very, very beautiful? Or is it in between? I didn't know, but we began studying it. And that's the story of how we really did this, how we came to do it. Was a story for both Bob Venturi and me, he growing up in Philadelphia, I in Johannesburg, South Africa, somehow coming on the same wavelength. And then I was in England, where there was a lot of social upheaval shortly before the American 60s, in the 50s in England, and a lot of complaint about the way architects were renewing the city of London and hurting the lives of people. So I came very well armed with a lot of information to a situation in America that quite soon was the same. Bob had had another kind of an education, but through his own early life, great interest in the same things. And we got together, and when I finished studying, I started teaching. And in 1960, I met Bob because we were both young faculty members in the School of Architecture, and quite soon we were having dinner together and talking together, and over a period from 1960 to 1965, we began collaborating with each other in the teaching, because I was teaching the first semester of a course and he was teaching the second semester, a course in theories of architecture and theories of planning and urbanism as well. And so by the end, by 1965, I was teaching part of his course as well as my course, and we had formed a way of working together, which we later translated into the Las Vegas studio. So those 5 years we did that practicing, but it was based on earlier experience and then on subsequent experience. Now I'm at the far end of that whole long, low arc. I can claim that we have helped change the nature of research in architecture, make it more design-oriented via Las Vegas, my African view of Las Vegas, his Italian-American view of Las Vegas, and Stephen Eisenhower's view too. He was the third person, our student assistant for the studio. And so that has been the beginning, using it as a design tool. And then we found we could also use it rather as an analysis tool, a research tool. Then we found we could use it as well as a design tool. And that is the story of this photography, used first for record keeping, second for showing students ideas, third for helping get ideas by the use of photography. And of course it follows also the introduction of digitized photography and Photoshop and all the other tools that we now use. So that's the story I would have for you. And if you say, well, what did you learn from Las Vegas? I say, so far, people have only reproduced our plans of Las Vegas buildings. But if you go and look at learning from Las Vegas, you'll see we have about 15 different ways of researching it and analyzing it. And I don't have time to tell you all of those now, but look for yourselves, because there's so many other ways to start looking at the cities you live in. You may want to do it with the present Las Vegas. You may want to do it with the cities you come from. You may want to take it and do it somewhere in Japan or who knows where. I wish you wonderful careers. I wish you find good beginnings, middles, and ends of your careers, and that you can be as happy in architecture as Bob and I have been. Thank you.